A butane stove? I have. We have, we keep a Blackstone because we use it for more than just like emergency. So I like Blackstone. They use either those small propane tanks or the big propane tanks.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it to the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed.
So a butane canister, I would have to guess, but because I didn't use it continuously for this whole time, like I would use it to cook on, like in a camping situation. But I would say you probably get somewhere between like 3 to 4 hours, maybe. They're like 200-gram canisters or something, right? It's been years since I used one. Yeah, same thing. I just Googled it. 8-ounce butane is 227 grams.
But
I knew it's 200 something grams.
Douchebag.
Or two. I thought it was 200 exactly, but.
You don't.
All right, here we go. Start Facebook. Boom.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So,
yeah, it's kind of a
enjoy the show.
kind of a perfect storm lining
Thanks
up here.
for watching.
No pun intended, I guess. Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional, and we have a pretty crazy storm headed our way, it looks like. So there's a chance, a very slight chance, that we are going to be below the freeze line. Let me show you. Hold on. It depends on which model you look at, but it looks like it's going to be bad. Every hour that passes, the fucking, the idea that we're going to be below the freeze line just doesn't happen because I live all the way up here in the blue, like not even close to the pink, like way up here in the blue. They're saying it could be like 1 foot to 2 foot of snow, which is not something we deal with, okay? I understand you're like, I'm from Michigan. I don't give a fuck, okay? I'm not. I'm from Northeast Tennessee, and they're talking about 1 foot to 2 foot of snow. The worst area to be in, I think, is probably going to be this pink area. They're calling for like 3 to 6 inches of solid ice. 3 inches of ice, there will not be a power line anywhere that's still up. Not happening. Not going to happen. And it's traveling more east to west than usual. So all these areas are going to get hit, right? It's going to come across Oklahoma into Arkansas, then Tennessee, and it's just going to go straight across. My sister lives up here in Kentucky. Her forecast is actually worse, but less mountains and stuff like that. So hopefully she does all right. So Thursday is supposed to be warm. Thursday, I'm taking off the trash because I don't want all the trash. We have a trash truck that we all just put all our trash in, and I take it to the dump. Usually it's open to the entire campground, and it's part of paying for camping, right? Trash service. But there's just like 4 families live there now. So it ends up, I take it off like, I don't know, once every couple months. But it's about half, 3/4 of the way full. I want to take it off, and then I'm going to fill the truck with gas jugs and go get some gas just for the generators in case we need it. So we'll see what happens. Seems like it's going to be pretty bad. If so, I will have to come out and get to the office to run my heaters. They need to run for a couple hours a day just so I can ensure I can get the temperature above 50 degrees. And that kind of ensures for the next 24 hours nothing will freeze or whatever. But I probably won't be here streaming. I'll probably be home with the family. We'll see. Yeah, don't look great. It looks like it's going to be icy. It looks like it's going to be snow. And it's covering parts of Texas. This is like 3 times as bad as the last storm they had in Texas that basically shut down Texas. You guys remember the ice storm they had in Texas before? It's not going to be good. If you have families, I've intentionally avoided talking about it because I was hoping the forecast would change. I didn't want to scare people. Not that my channel is like big enough to cause like mass hysteria or nothing. Most of y'all don't even live in this area, right? And anyways, but I was hoping the forecast would change. It doesn't seem like it. I think let's see. I think Mr. Global even talked about it. Hold on. It's not going to be good. And I have very little trust in how the Trump administration will handle it because a lot of these places, like we're used to a few times a year getting multiple inches. We're not set up to handle feet. We're just not, or a foot, especially over a short period of time. So there's going to have to be some people will die, and there's going to have to be some type of emergency response. What that looks like, who knows? Let's see, Mr. Global, one of these videos.
Talk about the storm.
Okay, it's this one.
This weekend, because I didn't want to freak people out, and a lot of these forecasts never pan out, but this one is panning out. It looks like, yeah, everyone's in agreement now that the crazy forecast.
Sorry, man, I was running.
Happening. This is going to be one of those storms you probably remember for much of your life. Basically, the whole more than the eastern half of the United States is going to be below freezing.
Dude, I was in Atlanta with CSX Railroad, doing their conductor training when I got hired at the railroad. And it's like weeks you're down there in a hotel or whatever. That's where they put me up in that hotel with all the roaches and shit. And I freaked out. But anyways, they try to tell me that's just Atlanta, dude. If you get a hotel in Atlanta, they just got roaches. And I'm like, no, that's not. Anyways, I think it was like a half inch of snow and a half inch of ice shut down Atlanta. Like, people abandoned their cars and just started walking and shit. Like, it was crazy.
To that below zero, they're calling for, foot and a half of snow all through here, all the way to the mid-Atlantic, and 3 inches of ice in this pink band right here. 3 inches of ice is unbelievably catastrophic. That is worse than what Texas experienced in 2021. There's going to be loss of life. Anywhere there's 3 inches of ice, there's no power. There's not going to be a power.
Yeah, all right. We were talking about today how we keep getting fucked, man. Like, we haven't even recovered from the goddamn hurricane that he was supposed to. Oh, today's a historic day. Before we finish Mr. Global's video, I didn't think I was going to get to announce this, but look at this.
For 30 months.
Thank you for resubscription. Dirty 30. That's right. Thank you very much. Today is an historic day. I've been keeping up with this day in and day out so I could be here for this fucking day, baby. You guys ready? You know what it is? All of our electric bills are going to be half price from this day forward.
Energy and electricity in half. I will cut the price of energy and electricity in half. Ready? 12 months from January 20th, to take office on January 20th, your electric bill, including cars, air conditioners, heating, everything, your total electric bill will be 50% less. We're going to cut it in half. I will
1 year. 1 year today. He said 1 year after taking office on January 20th, which is when he's going to take office, everybody's electric bill 50% off.
Energy and electricity in half. Ready?
Well, they probably just haven't heard yet that a lot of people, forgot about this. They probably just contact your electric company and tell them.
12 months from January 20th, to take office on January 20th, your electric bill, including cars, air conditioners, heating, everything, your
including your cars,
total electric bill will be 50% less. We're going to cut it in half. I will cut.
Hell yeah.
Energy and electricity.
Big day for America. Big day. Back to Mr. Global. While we're all getting ready to die in the snowpocalypse.
All the way to the mid-Atlantic, and 3 inches of ice in this pink band right here.
Yeah, because everything he said was a lie. He just said, here's what's bothering you. I'll fix it with no plan, not the right people, no way to tackle this. I'll fix it all. And by the way, it'll get better as soon as we get rid of brown people.
Inches of ice is unbelievably catastrophic. That is worse than what Texas experienced in 2021. There's going to be loss of life. Anywhere there's 3 inches of ice, there's no power. There's not going to be a power line that's not on the ground when there's 3 inches of ice.
The power lines won't hold 3 inches of ice.
And emergency services aren't going to be able to reach you because there's 3 inches of ice on the road. That's what's going.
So if you live in this area, please, if you can, get some type of backup heat source. If you use electric heat, if you use some type of gas heat, just make sure that it works and pilot lights are lit, and you can do it all without electric. Even if you have to add, some type of battery-powered fan or some shit to circulate. A generator would be great. Those types of things.
to happen if this forecast.
The only good thing about this storm coming is I have a generator now because of we went. What was it like? It was like 6.5 months without power or some shit.
Is correct. The grid's going to fail. Refineries are going to shut down. Water systems are going to shut down. Could knock out a couple of LNG terminals if it goes far enough south on the Gulf Coast. This is going to be a disaster if this forecast is.
Also, stay inside if you can. I know a lot of people like to get out and adventure or whatever. I don't care if you go out and adventure, take pictures or whatever. That's something everybody does. Don't make yourself a hazard, right? Don't end up in a ditch and need emergency response. Don't end up in a car wreck. Don't end up running out of fucking gas or your car breaks down or some shit and emergency services have to be pulled to you. Like if you're going to go out, at least make sure you're self-sufficient in the way you go out and you can get back.
Even close to accurate. I mean, a major disaster. Huge natural disaster across pretty much all the southern states. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you live in the pink area, you should plan to be without power for at least a week, maybe a month. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you need to prepare for it because it wouldn't be the first time it happened, okay? This is that. People went without power for a month in Texas in 2021. This is a repeat of that. For you folks in the upper Midwest, where it's going to be like 30 below,
it won't be here till, I don't know about you guys, it won't be here till Friday night. Thursday, it's going to be 55 degrees or 53 degrees or some shit. Friday, it's going to be cool and potentially rain leading into all this snow.
Take the largest electric bill you've ever had in your life and add, 25% to that or more. Yeah. But more importantly, just be prepared. Thanks. I've been waiting to talk about the storm that's coming this weekend because I didn't want to freak people out.
Not great.
And a lot of these forecasts never.
Someone said, check out Austin Bowling. I don't know who that is. It's weird. I get the most reliable weather data from a guy I went to school with. So I don't know if he had like undiagnosed autism or some shit. I have no idea. But the guy was like obsessed with weather through school. So much so that he went on to, I don't know who the Austin Bowling guy is. He went on to like our local morning announcements. They made a spot for him to do weather. Like he was fucking obsessed with weather. They made a spot for him to do weather in our local announcements. He like on a couple times he appeared on our local news as a guest weatherman while still in high school. And now that's all he does is study weather. And the most accurate weather that I get is literally from him. Let me see if I can find his account. He's like obsessed with weather. I don't know. I have another friend who is believe it or not, a meteorologist for Mars, which I always thought was cool. He doesn't know shit about the weather. Heeding my own advice, y'all, as I mentioned earlier, now is the time to prepare this. Oh, he went out and bought kerosene and a kerosene heater. Little buddy heaters are good if you have access to propane cylinders. I would not run them, something like this. I wouldn't run them with the small cylinders. I would go ahead and get to the hose that lets you hook it up to a grill bottle, like a 20-pound cylinder. And 20-pound cylinders are not cheap at gas stations, but it's convenient. Most gas stations, you can exchange those cylinders. It's cheaper to fill them. It's cheaper to go to a propane place. They're stupid expensive at the gas station, but you can exchange them. Like if everything's closed in the middle of the night or the local propane place didn't open because snow, gas stations are usually open and you can usually exchange them there. Those small cylinders are cheap, but they run out pretty quick. And you have to go into a store to buy. Like Walmart has them for like $2 or $3. $3 a piece, something like that. Let's see. He got kerosene. He says, thank you all for all the friend requests and sharing my discussion today concerning this weekend weather storm. Try Joe's forecast. Oh, maybe he has a website now. The guy's name is Joe Reedy, if you guys want to check him out. Reedy, R-E-E-D-Y, Joe Reedy. And he does a emoji cast. But even he's like, hey, this storm looks like it's going to be bad. Milk and bread emergency alert. There's 0.7 to 1.3 inch snow event within 250 miles of your location. Please buy all the milk, even if you're lactose intolerant. Acquire enough bread to survive 3 to 5 business weeks. Consider eggs for French toast for morale. That's funny. Fucking motherfuckers running around making milk sandwiches, I guess. So this is the Euro model. Let me see if I can figure out where I am on this map. This is the Euro model. That's 40. So 40 goes up to 81, and 40 continues over to Asheville. Oh, I see the state line now. I'm right here. See the 4? See the stick in the 4? Like the straight side of the 4? Straight up and down? I'm just below that. I am right here. Our county looks like a dog bone. I'm right there. This would be Interstate 26 out of Asheville. So Asheville would be like right here where 26 and 40 come back together. And then I am right here as soon as you cross over into Tennessee. Underneath that 24-inch model. I'm proud of it, to be honest with you. I'm also, on this one, I am right here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor moving around, but I'm right here on this one. So good luck to everybody. Gotten back dozens of messages I missed overnight, and now that we celebrated Queen Dolly, it's back to regular broadcasting. Dolly Parton Day was yesterday. I don't normally forecast totals this far out, but all reliable modeling continues to suggest a powerful winter storm along and north of I-40. So I'd rather you hear it from Joe Knows. This map attached probably has your attention by now, displaying how much we could get if we see less mixing from Saturday into Sunday. Behind the storm, brutally cold air builds in which could hold temps below freezing through the middle of next week. This is not the official forecast, but the trends I've been tracking since last weekend. For those that have been wanting more than just festive flakes to a light coating, this one's for you, and whatever falls this weekend could stick around for most of next week. I'll continue to keep you up in the know and ahead of the storm. By the way, south of these, heavy snowfall with totals will be potential of a historic ice storm. Now's the time to prepare. Thanks for your trust. Hashtag Joe No Snow. Joe Reedy. Big fan of Joe Reedy. Anyways, he's usually pretty fucking accurate. So I'll follow him on Facebook. I'm about 50. Oh, yeah, I can show you. I can show him where you're at on the map. In Johnson City, right? So basically, he's like on the 4. You're like at the 4. Because that would be 81. That's the Kingsport beyond that, Bristol this way. So you're like at the 4. Johnson City is usually where I tell people I'm from because most people don't know Irwin, but I'll say Johnson City, and if they look blank, I'll say, you know about Bristol? I used to say, back when stock car racing was a bigger deal, I'd be like, oh, Bristol Motor Speedway? And people would be like, yeah, I know NASCAR. I'd be like, yeah, I live like, I don't know, 40 minutes from there. Asheville's a good one, too. Asheville's probably better than Johnson City, but I have to explain, like, I'm just on the Tennessee side of the state line. Basically, when you leave Asheville, if you take 26, as soon as you leave Asheville, you're going up a fucking straight up mountain, okay? As soon as you leave on 26, you're going straight up a mountain. When you come down the other side of the mountain and get to the bottom, that's where I live. So you leave Asheville, go up the mountain, down the mountain, and you're there. There you go. Let's see. So the only thing I know about the European and the U.S. model, the U.S. model is called the GFS. Anyways, the Euro model is usually considered more accurate, okay? But they use so much computing power that it doesn't update as often. The GFS updates more often, but a lot of times it's considered less as a whole. I'm not saying like this one's always accurate in that, but when you take the averages, the Euro model is usually considered more accurate, but it doesn't update as often. But they use a whole lot more computing power than the GFS model or whatever. Yeah. Oh, here's the, hold on. The Euro model uses more advanced physics, while the GFS has improved significantly, but historically used different data assimilation. GFS runs more often, 4 times a day. The Euro model only runs 2 times a day, but Euro's intensive checks can add to its accuracy. The GFS is free. Euro access often costs money. How meteorologists use them? They're just tools. Meteorologists look at both, plus many others, the NAM, the HRRR, for U.S. to see the models agree and disagree, using ensembles for probability, combining with radar for the best local weather forecasts. I think people get confused. I was confused at this at one time. Okay, let's say in my head, naturally, I want to think if you have a 50% chance of rain, okay? Listen, if you have a 50% chance of rain, in my head, what I think is about half the day it's going to rain. But that's not what it means. It means that they're of their forecast area, whatever the area they are. So mine would be like the Tri-Cities. Okay? Of the Tri-Cities, 50% of the Tri-Cities will 100% have rain, or as close to that as they can get. Okay? So if you took their area, whatever area they're forecasting for, the 50% rain, half of that area is going to get rain today. The other half will not. And it really just depends on watching the radar. I learned that a long time ago when I was on the road and we were trying to call people in, and I was running a crew and trying to predict weather and winds and storms and shit, and saw how much more accurate it was when you're getting close to the time to just use radar. Is this blob of moisture going to hit us, or is it going to miss us? Because we got 70% chance of rain, but there's a chance I'm in the 30% and we're going to see 0 rain the whole fucking day. So it's much better to just take that with a grain of salt and then look at the radar if you've got something super important, a wedding, a birthday, something you're going to be outside, whatever, right? The radar is more accurate, even though you see on radar, like you'll have a blob and it'll kind of disappear and a blob will pop up somewhere else. But still, you can usually pretty accurately predict the track once it gets close enough. There you go. Joe Reedy, you know Joe Reedy? No, I don't believe you. Dude, sounds like I don't believe you. You don't know Joe. How the fuck do you know Joe Reedy? I'm about to shut the show down, okay? You sound like one of my Burt Lynch stalkers. I went to school with Joe. Joe is 1 year older than me. And he's really good at predicting the weather. He has a fascination with it. He studies it. He does it for a job. Seems like he knows what he's doing. Actually, it says he works at K Jewelers. Well, he hosts a website. I guess he does it for fun. Funsies. Not personally. I exclusively used him for weather for years. No way. That's crazy. He went somewhere to be the weatherman. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. He went. So usually, I don't know if you guys know this, but your local newscasters are usually not home people. For some reason, they grab, like if you want to be a news anchor, you're more than likely not going to be a news anchor in your hometown. They send you somewhere else. And you're like, "What? Welcome to the Charlotte community. I just got here, blah, blah, blah. I'm still learning." I don't know. It's weird. But he went somewhere to be a news anchor or a weatherman, I guess, for a while. Or at least I remember that. Maybe I'm misremembering it. I like Joe. He's a good guy. Anyways, how you like that half off energy bill coming your way, chat? Didn't think I'd remember it, did you? I did. We did Mr. Global on the weather. What about this promise?
Remember the gold phone the Trump...
I don't know. K Jewelers, I'm going to be honest with you. If for some reason you're still buying diamond rings because you got fucking diamond ring money, right, or something like that, I would go anywhere else than a chain jeweler. Okay, I've seen so many stories of people getting fucked over at K Jewelers. Like literally buying something at K Jewelers and going to a Renat like Trax. Trax had somebody maybe 6 months ago, bought an engagement ring at K Jewelers, went to Trax, and he valued it for thousands of dollars less. Went to another store, they gave him the same evaluation. Like it was bad. And I feel like they weigh on you. Like when you go in there, they're like, don't you want this to be the most spectacular day? And especially like engagement rings and shit. I don't know. We don't do jewelry. Mariah doesn't really care for it. I bought her a ring. She lost it. Then we both switched to these like silicone rings, which are cheap as fuck. My original ring, I lost once and then I got a replacement. Now I got a silicone ring. And Mariah had a silicone ring. And then it just so happened that our boss used to run a pawn shop forever. And part of running the pawn shop with her husband, they ran a pawn shop in Nashville, is they have a ton of jewelry and watches and shit that was like leftover stock. And Mariah was helping her sort it one day and found an engagement set that she really, really, really loved. And I bought that for her from my boss. And she's got that one now, but I prefer the silicone rings, to be honest with you.
Remember the gold phone the Trump family announced? It's called T1, cost about $500, and was the flagship smartphone of Trump Mobile. Well, it was supposed to...
Yeah, it was almost like they made me feel bad for what my price range was. You know what I mean? They made me feel bad for what my... Like, this is what I've got. I don't know. It's almost like they made me feel like, oh, well, maybe you don't deserve her if that's all you can spend. They didn't outright say that, but that's the way they made me feel.
Come out last summer, but it's January 2026 and the phone is still nowhere to be found. Nonetheless, for a $100 deposit, you can still order them through the Trump Mobile website. And the Associated Press has been tracking this and found that originally the company said the T1 would be, quote, designed and built in the USA, but now
designed and built in the USA was the promise with the phone. And they took $100 deposits for this phone. It's literally going to be cricket.
Just resubscribed for 42 months.
Thank you for the resubscription. 42 months. Thank you very much for that. Designed and built in the USA. And then they showed you a knockoff iPhone and a knockoff Samsung in the screenshot. The phone they showed you was an iPhone and a Samsung design. Neither one made in the USA. They said it was going to be designed and made in the USA. They've since changed the wording to just say American proud design. That can mean anything. What it doesn't mean is designed in America. You might say, oh, well, we had an American come up with this T they put on the back of it. But you're not making a phone in America. Not happening. And they know that. That's why they changed this. And they're still, to this day, taking $100 deposits.
Tracking this and found that originally the company said the T1 would be, quote, designed and built in the USA, but now the website simply says it has an American proud design.
California
Analysts
crafter.
believe this marketing shift came when Trump Mobile realized
Crafter.
the U.S. lacks the supply chain to make a smartphone for less than $1,000. The same hurdles that made it impossible for Apple to meet President Trump's demands and move its
I would be their stupid low price point. I would love to see how much RAM they're putting in the phone. RAM is stupid expensive right now.
Manufacturing from China and India to the U.S. Now, Trump Mobile hasn't responded to inquiries from the Associated Press about what's causing the T1 delays or when is it expected to ship. But the financial...
I was so broke when I asked Mariah to marry me that I bought a ring on payments. I had it financed and did payments.
Times reports that a Trump Mobile rep told them that the phones will ship at the end of January and blamed the delays on the government shutdown last year, even though that was long after the original release date. In the meantime, the company is pushing its wireless plan for $47.45.
So you get a SIM kit, a nano, micro, or standard SIM, $47.45 a month for their plan. It's like we're switching to Straight Talk or whatever. It's just like Straight Talk or any of these other companies. Right? They just use other places' towers, and they give you service.
A month, as well as offering refurbished iPhones and Samsung smartphones for sale. News girls and the Associated Press will be tracking the T1's release, so follow to stay in the loop.
Moist Critical. He's pretty funny.
Remember the gold phone the Trump family...
I just think it's funny they just keep lying about everything. Right? Oh, you want to see how out of touch they are with Americans? Imagine thinking... There are average Americans that you would call mom and pop, that you would assume someone's parents own 5, 10, or 12 homes that they rent out.
We are going to give guidance at some point.
My parents died not owning a home. And he's like, well, we don't want to. They're talking about preventing major corporations from investing in single family homes. And he's like, oh, well, we don't want to knock out the mom and pops that own 12 homes for their retirement plan. What the fuck?
We are going to give guidance at some point to see what is a mom and pop that some.
And at the same time, they're trying to tell you how to prepare a meal for $3. You get an ounce of chicken, 1 corn tortilla, some broccoli, and 1 other item. Tell me how to make a meal for $3 while I live in my 12 homes, you stupid motherfucker.
A mom and pop that someone, maybe your parents for their retirement, bought 5, 10, 12 homes. So
maybe your parents for their retirement bought 5, 10, 12 homes. What the fuck? Who even has retirement anymore? I was on Marianne Mann's post. I just saw her comment. I was on her post. You got 5, 10, 12 homes for retirement, Marianne?
Pop that someone, maybe your parents for their retirement, bought 5, 10, 12 homes. So we don't want to push the mom and pops out. We just want to push everyone else out.
This is going to, I'm telling you right now, if Trump's plan goes through, it will have to go through Congress. If it goes through, if the credit card plan goes through, most of us are going to lose access to credit cards. Okay? Unless you're in the upper tier, unless you already have a credit card that's 10% interest or less, or maybe on the line, maybe you're like a 11.5 or something like that, you're going to lose credit card use. They're not going to take a risk on someone they usually issue a credit card to at 28.75%. My interest rates are high, but I pay it off every month, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But I'll lose access to that, first of all. Okay? Second of all, if the housing plan goes through, they're only planning on implementing it in areas that have a population, a county with population of 150,000 or more. So what does that do to all the people who live in smaller areas? For only a year, yes. But if I was a credit card company, I wouldn't take the risk, right? I would just cancel your card for a year and tell you to come back in 2027. So if this is the home supply, okay? And we have corporations have decided that they want 40% of this. And it's a good money-making opportunity for them to take 40, so that'd be 50, and then we'll just go this way, 40%, okay? And then from the home supply, now the corporations still want 40% because they're making incredible returns off this, okay? And then we take that home supply and get rid of all of it but this. This is all that's left. They're going to own close to 100% of what's left. Oh, that's too sensitive. There it is. They're going to own close to 100% of what's left. This area. It's going to fuck anybody that doesn't live in a large. They're just going to push out. Not to mention, it only limits them from one company owning so many homes. They can start company after company after company after company after company and buy homes. But if they don't do that, and they push out areas that have 150,000, where homes are typically cheaper. Homes tend to be more expensive towards the city centers, right? There's more people that want to live there, more jobs there, there's more opportunity there. There's just fucking more people there per capita. I guess per area. They're going to push them out of the cheaper homes, and they're going to have they have access to 100% of that market. They're already doing it in my town. There's a guy, I don't want to mention his name, I guess. There's a guy that I know that works for a handler for a gigantic fucking investment firm. His handler's in Knoxville. They buy houses sight unseen from people that fill out a form about maybe thinking about selling their house, but it needs repairs. They buy houses sight unseen with some type of model. They put the square footage in, where it's located at, how much they'll give. They push that fucking checkout. He goes in and remodels the house. Okay? That's what he does. He goes in, remodels the house, brings it up to code so nobody gets sued, fixes everything, new hot water heater, shit they don't want to get calls about, right? And he's also there for the maintenance. He has a maintenance contract with him and his crew. They put people on a ridiculously priced rent-to-own plan. So let's say the mortgage on that house would be like $1,200 a month. They're charging like $1,800 or $2,000 a month, and you're on rent-to-own, okay? Then he told me that the contracts, I guess he's got a friend who's a lawyer, and they were looking at one of these rent-to-own contracts, that the contract is so strict, what they seem to be doing is putting people in these rent-to-own homes, letting them get years down the road, and then say, oh, well, you were 3 days late on this payment one time, so the contract's null and void. Kick those people out and just do it again. And again, and again, and again. They're selling a home overpriced because people think they're going to buy it eventually. And worst case scenario, someone doesn't break the contract. They end up owning a home that they overpaid for. Vastly overpaid for. And they're just doing it as many homes as they can fucking buy. Let's say they're not, that's an assumption, right? That's like an anecdote, an assumption. I said, he thinks this. Let's say they're not kicking people out. They're charging like 175% of the home value by the time you pay it off. And they can do it over and over and over again because they have access to giant amounts of capital. How hard is it to buy a home? Like everybody's complaining, oh, it's so hard to buy a home, so hard to buy a home, so hard. How hard is it to buy a home when you have $50 million in the bank? You think it's hard? Oh, yeah, I forgot they make them put down a big down payment, too. Someone just said that. Thank you very much.
Misanthrope a subscription. Jujmon4 is zero knee gifted a tier 1 sub to desolate_misanthrope. They have given 5 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you for the gifted sub. I forgot they make them pay a big down payment, too. It seems like they milk them out of whatever once they have their clause in, they milk them out of whatever down payment they can get. I know people that sold cars and vehicles and shit to put down a down payment. It's not hard to buy a home for anybody that has unlimited capital. No fucking corporation is claiming, oh, it's so hard to buy a home right now. Yes, they don't get the down payment back. The people see the light at the end of the tunnel. I got fucked on this. I mean, it wasn't a corporation that did it. It was just my buddy, but still.
Michaela Robertson 81 gifted Mjmanbsna subscription. Michaela Robertson 81 gifted a tier 1 sub to Mjmanbsna. They have given 59 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you very much for the gifted sub. I appreciate it. And Marion Man, appreciate it. Michaela Robertson. It is... They trick them into think like they're building equity, right? But more than likely, they're going to fall through or void or something's going to go bad.
Just resubscribed for 34 months.
It doesn't seem great. Thank you for the resubscription. It seems like they're fucking these people that are in desperate times and using desperate measures to get in a home, which I can't blame them. Like, I need to fucking buy a home. I did my VA home loan. I did a pre-qualifying VA home loan. And the best I could get for a $250,000 home was if I paid $5,000 at closing to buy the points down. So the buying the points down is like, I guess the way my sister explained it to me is it's 1% of the loan. If you pay 1% of the loan, it brings it down a quarter of a point, your interest rate. The best I could get was $1,430 a month on a $250,000 home at a 30-year fix. That's a VA home loan, though. How many people aren't getting the benefit of VA home loan and rates? Insane. Oh, and my sister just moved, and the day she was paying $1,100 a month rent. The day she moved out, a renter moved directly in as soon as the fucking paint dried. I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, and went from $1,100 a month to $2,000 a month. My boss's daughter has a friend that she was talking to on the phone while I just happened to be there, and hers went from, it was an apartment in Nashville. She moved, or I'm sorry, her lease expired, and her rent was going from $1,800 a month to $2,800, $1,000 jump. Like, who the fuck can do that? That's what I want to do. So we may have some options. I've been talking to some people. I may have some options. If I don't do, I'm buying a house next year. As long as something crazy doesn't happen. If for some reason it isn't my primary residence, what I'm going to, I make like the perfect maintenance guy. That's all I do, right? I fix shit. So if it doesn't become my permanent residence, like it's not my primary residence because we worked out a different deal with some people I'm talking to, if that happens, I'm buying it to rent it out. That seems like the only way to guarantee that my kids will fucking have something when I die. You know what I mean? So either I'm buying a house for me and my family, we're moving into it, or I work out a different deal and I'm going to buy it, finance it, and then whatever the fucking mortgage is, I'm going to throw a few $100s on that and rent it out for it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Did you see that in Greenland, they're bringing American culture there just to see, does it fit? Is it crazy? Would the Greenlanders, I don't know what they're called. Is that Greenlanders? Would the Greenlanders like the American, style culture? Well, they've been experimenting with it. Let's see how it's going so far. Looks like it's going great. It's just, it's just the Fenty fold. Never know. They might love it, right? They might love it. There was an interview. I didn't grab the clip. I'm looking for it now. There was a woman, this woman.
So I think Trump doesn't know about Greenlandic people. We don't really value cash and Kardashian lips and fake boobs and stuff like that very highly. Actually, you cannot even own land in Greenland. You can get an allotment for your house and then you own the house on top of the land. But Greenlanders don't believe in the land is for one person, it's for everyone. And so is the seas, like the richest that we have there. So it's a big miscalculation.
I think I would be a really good landlord. I love fixing stuff. I don't mind a new project, whatever. I'd have a nest egg saved back in case, worst case scenario, it needs a roof or, fucking something like that, floors replaced. I think I'd make a good landlord just because that's what I do already is just fix shit all day. That's my job at the campground is just fix fucked up shit.
That he thinks that Greenlanders would be incited by.
But I would probably be strict with who I rented to. I don't do nasty. Okay? I don't do it. Like, I don't do dogs pissing and shitting everywhere. I don't do cats fucking spraying on the wall. I don't do roaches, ants, and bugs. Like, I'll even pay to have the house fucking treated for insects, but I don't do I would probably come unglued. That might be a moment Mariah has to step in. I don't do that. Oh, God.
I think Trump doesn't know about Greenlandic people. We don't really value cash and Kardashian lips and fake boobs and stuff like that very highly. Actually,
what is a house rent for here? So if I was going to do it, it would be a house that I could move into, worst case scenario. So it'd be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, fucking at least fucking $1,500 to $2,000 probably. Like I said, my sister's 3-bedroom, 2-bath just got raised to $2,000 a month.
you cannot even own land in Greenland. You can get an allotment for your house, and then you own the house on top of the land. But Greenlanders don't believe in the land is for one person, it's for everyone. And so is the seas, like the riches that we have there. So it's a big miscalculation that he thinks that Greenlanders would be incited by cash.
You know, in Greenland, they also, not only they have free healthcare, they have a free education system. In fact, the government, as long as you prove that you're in school, starting to learn something that's going to help them out eventually, they pay you a stipend to live on, to pay your rent and buy your groceries while you're in school.
Or something like that. We're not.
It's like the whole country has a GI Bill and VA healthcare. Why the fuck would they give that up?
And even if you were to say like $100,000 per person or something like that, we wouldn't give up free healthcare. We wouldn't give up free education.
That's my goal. Like if I can have like $10,000 emergency fund, and then have the mortgage, and then say it makes an extra $300 or something. It covers the mortgage plus all the fees and taxes or whatever, plus like $300, $200 or $300 to put into a fund to take care of it. The biggest plus for me is that I'm going to have the house. You're paying my mortgage, right?
We wouldn't give up being a part of Europe. We wouldn't give up on our sovereignty eventually. And we're a very sovereign people within the Kingdom of Denmark. We're autonomous right now. We do not want to be rich like the Americans are. See how greedy they are? They're even trying to shoot their friends or invade their friends just for greed. And we know that there's minerals and oils possibly in our underground, and that's worth so much more even than that. But even if
Do you guys remember when I went over the tech bros and the fact that they wanted their own cities with their own laws and their only ability to, like, instead of having a president, it would be like a board, like a company. And you worked for the company, lived for the company, they own the homes and the jobs and stuff. They write the laws, the company's in charge. And then if you don't like that, then you just quit the company and you have to move out. It was a technocracy. And some pretty crazy laws they were talking about implementing. Well, they already have one of those cities. It's like somewhere in South America. But the scuttlebutt going around the administration is that they want to open multiple tech cities like this to be managed by a board of directors in Greenland, and also use that for the mining and the rare earth minerals and the things like that around these cities. I don't know if it's true. A lot of people are talking about it. It sounds scary as fuck.
we didn't have that, we would still not be bought. So everyone here knows about the Inuit in Alaska and all of the native tribes, Indians, American Indians who are there. Their land was taken from them, and they haven't been treated that well in America. And we know that Trump is very much surrounding himself, at least, with the white power people. And we are not white, as you can see. We are of color. And so we know our rights probably would be taken away. And we also know that we're very good as we are together with Denmark. As mentioned before, we have free healthcare, we have free study. Whatever you want to study, you can do that for free, and actually government will give you money to study. So while you're studying, you're getting a grant from your government. So all of that we wouldn't trade for, like the welfare state, we wouldn't trade for anything in America. But also, you have to remember...
They're calling them, so the tech bros have aligned with the right wing, obviously, with MAGA. They're calling them freedom cities. because it sounds better than, hey, you're going to live in a company town. Like back in the day when we were fucking running mining operations and they paid you in their own currency and you could only spend it at their store and they owned your tent and your house and your wife and your mule and right? Basically, slavery. They're calling them freedom cities. There'll be low regulation zones, AI space, and tech innovation. Acquiring and using the critical minerals in strategic locations of Denmark. These visions, promoted by figures like Peter Thiel and Ken Howry, clash with Danish sovereignty, but appeal to tech elites seeking deregulated havens free from government oversight, mirroring earlier ideas for startup cities in places like Honduras. No rules, no laws. The company makes the laws. They own the land. They own the houses. They own everything, right? Single family home in Sarasota, Florida goes for around $2,900 to $3,000 a month, up to $4,000. Yeah, it's bad. Rent's bad. But if the interest rate kind of gets under control, if you're looking to rent out a house, it seems more feasible now. And the demand is up, dude. Rental places are being posted, and before I even see them, an hour later on Facebook, it's already rented out. It's insane.
A lot of Greenlanders have family, like their mother or father or grandmother or grandfather who's Danish. We do have a 400.
Ken Howry is the ambassador to Denmark, who's also real buddy with Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, and he's all about these technocrat cities.
Years history together or more in terms of being interconnected in that way. So, and we're also seeing a lot of protest in America right now that is unsettling with the ICE agents who are sort of going after a lot of people. And from here, it looks like maybe he's going a lot after brown people, and we are considered brown people, as you can see. So I think Trump doesn't know about.
They are brown people. All right, listen here. Tech billionaires are behind Greenland bid and want to build freedom cities. As Europeans try to redirect Trump, his Silicon Valley supporters have ideas of their own involving low-regulated communities and access to rare earth. This past week, President Trump removed any remaining ambiguity about his intentions toward Greenland. During a White House event, he declared he would take the Arctic territory whether they like it or not. Then he laid down what sounded like a mobster's threat to Denmark. If we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. Trump also reportedly ordered Special Forces commanders to come up with an invasion plan, even though senior military officials warned him it would violate international law and their NATO treaties. The NATO treaty is signed into law by Congress and the president. He's clearly breaking that law, but here we go. In an interview with the New York Times, Trump said, "I don't need international law." Behind closed doors, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been trying to calm Congress, saying all this military posturing is just a way to pressure Denmark to negotiate. Meanwhile, Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff, dismissed Denmark's authority over Greenland, claiming nobody is going to fight the United States military over the future of Greenland. Meanwhile, 7 European countries issued a joint statement. Greenland belongs to its people, and some NATO allies hope to temper Trump by offering to station a military force on the island to counter Russia and China in the Arctic. In an apparent effort to stave off Trump's appetite for Greenland, UK Prime Minister Starmer reportedly told Trump that he shares his view on Russia's threat to the region and that he would consider sending troops to help defend against it. Meanwhile, Germany is proposing establishing a joint Arctic NATO mission, and Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said a U.S. takeover of Greenland would mark the end of NATO. Why Trump wants Greenland? The Trump administration can't seem to decide why it needs to seize Greenland. At first, the president claimed Russian and Chinese ships are all along the coast, a claim rejected by senior Nordic diplomats. "I have seen the intelligence. There are no ships, no submarines." Later, Trump warned, if we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will, and I'm not letting that happen. Vice President J.D. Vance has pivoted to missile defense. Trump tried to say he did not write the tweet that said, we need it for the iron or for the Golden Dome, for the angles. And he did not write that. Somebody else wrote it, but that was one of his claims. President J.D. Vance has pivoted to missile defense, arguing that the entire missile defense infrastructure is partially dependent on Greenland. There's no debating the strategic value of Greenland. The U.S. base on the island, the space base, provides early warning radar coverage of Russia and Chinese bombers and missiles, which is true, but Greenland has said you can put as many troops as you want to here. Like, that's not an issue. However, boosting the capability does not depend on Washington taking ownership of the island itself. Existing defense agreements already allow the U.S. to project power and modernize its capability without diplomatic catastrophe or annexation. The mainstream media has extensively covered Trump's Greenland ambitions, emphasizing Arctic security, competition with China and Russia, as well as strategic shipping routes opening due to the melting ice. He can't say that, though, because that's admitting to climate change, okay? Most mention Greenland's vast deposits of critical minerals essential for electric vehicles and renewables, but they stop short of examining the forces that may be actually driving the minerals agenda. Tech billionaires like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, who see Greenland not just as a source of rare earth, but as a laboratory for their libertarian economic and social experiments. These tech billionaires envision unregulated freedom cities in Greenland, free from democratic oversight, environmental laws, and labor protections. Ken Howry, Trump's ambassador to Denmark and a PayPal co-founder with Thiel and Musk, has reportedly been in talks to set up those low regulation zones. There's an ironic clash of interest here. The national security establishment wants state control over strategic territory. The tech billionaire funding Trump want the opposite, a deregulated playground for their anarcho-capitalist experiments. Both share a common blindness to Greenland's Greenlandic sovereignty and indigenous rights. It's profoundly disturbing how climate crisis is being reframed as opportunity. Greenland's ice sheet is melting faster due to rising temperatures. Indigenous Greenlanders are watching their traditional way of life vanish as the ice disappears. The 56,000 Greenlanders, 89% of whom are indigenous Inuit, have made their position clear. 85% oppose joining the U.S. The last parliamentary elections delivered victory to parties that openly reject Trump's advances, but you wouldn't know it from the way Washington talks about Greenland. Their voices are barely a whisper in all of these discussions of annexation. At the same time, most Americans oppose the idea of buying or invading Greenland. The White House is trying every angle to get its way. U.S. officials have discussed paying every Greenlander a lump sum of between $10,000 to $100,000, essentially trying to buy approval from the population that keeps saying no. The White House is also trying to enter a compact of free association, a COFA, agreement with Greenland. In such an agreement, the U.S. only provides mail delivery and military protection operations in exchange for the U.S. military to operate freely and duty-free trade. Such agreements exist with islands like Palua and the Marshall Islands and Micronesia. However, this arrangement is unlikely to succeed with Greenland. COFA agreements have previously been linked with independent countries, and Greenland would need to separate from Denmark for such a plan to even proceed. The crisis extends far beyond Greenland. This is about what kind of country America wants to be and how it leads on the world stage. Will the U.S. lead through partnership and mutual benefit or through threats and coercion? Does Washington respect self-determination, a principle we claim to champion only when it's convenient? This obsession with annexation reduces everything to a resources grab. Missing entirely is any recognition of Greenland as a home to people with their own dreams, rights, and hopes for the future. President Trump promised to end forever wars and take on the foreign policy establishment. But these threats over Greenland show the same old thinking that might makes right and that other countries' independence only counts when it serves our perceived interest. America's true interests lie not in reviving imperialism, but in demonstrating that partnership and mutual benefits offer a better path than aggression and unilateralism. So there you go. Freedom City coming near you.
About Greenlandic people, we don't really value cash and Kardashian lips.
How can anybody condemn Russia if we do this?
And fake boobs and stuff like that very highly. Actually, you cannot even own.
I know I'm playing it again. It doesn't matter.
You can get an allotment for your house, and then you own the house on top of the land. But Greenlanders don't believe in.
You're never going to talk them out. Somebody was just talking today, talking about, healthcare is so expensive in the U.S., but you don't see. Oh, I've got that video, I think. You don't see anybody leaving the U.S. to get healthcare. Yes, you do. How many people know somebody or know somebody that knows somebody or heard a story of people going to Mexico to get fucking surgery and drugs and all kinds of shit? We have somebody in our family that went and got a surgery done in Mexico. It was cheaper to passport, fly, stay in a hotel, pay for the hospital, have the surgery, and fly back. It was a fucking tenth of what they were going to charge here in the U.S. What the fuck? they're not going to give up their benefits just so Trump can have a new thing to play with. And the motherfucker won't even admit it's because of climate change. These new Arctic routes wouldn't be opening up if the ice was still frozen.
The land is for one person, is for everyone, and so is the seas, like the riches that we have there. So it's a big miscalculation that he thinks that Greenlanders would be incited by cash or something like that. We're not. And even if you were to say like $100,000 per person or something like that, we wouldn't give up free health care. We wouldn't give up free education. We wouldn't give up being a part of Europe. We wouldn't give up on our sovereignty eventually. And we're a very sovereign people within the Kingdom of Denmark. We're autonomous right now. We do not want to be rich like the Americans are. See how greedy they are. They're even trying to shoot their friends or invade their friends just for greed. And we know that there's minerals and oils possibly in our underground, and that's worth so much more even than that. But even if we didn't have that, we would still not be bought. So everyone here knows about the Inuit in Alaska and all of the native tribes, Indians, American Indians who are there. Their land was taken from them, and they haven't been treated that well in America. And we know that Trump is very much surrounding himself.
Yeah, look how we treat our native people. And then think about being a native person to Greenland, a country we don't give a fuck about.
At least with the white power people, and we are not white, as you can see. We are of color, and so we know our rights probably would be taken away. And we also know that we're very good as we are together with Denmark. As mentioned before, we have free health care, we have free study. Whatever you want to study, you can do that for free. And actually,
we treat everybody like shit.
Money to study. So while you're studying, you're getting a grant from your government. So all of that we wouldn't trade for like the welfare state. We wouldn't trade for anything in America. But also, you have to remember, a lot of Greenlanders have family, like their mother or father.
You know how nice it would be to be able to live in a fucking country and be like, oh shit, if my wife gets in a car wreck, we both get in a car wreck and we lose our jobs and shit, our kids aren't going to starve to death.
Father or grandmother or grandfather who's Danish. We do have a 400 years history together or more in terms of being interconnected in that way. So, and we're also seeing a lot of protest in America right now that is unsettling with the.
That makes sense, integrity.
Sort of going at
being close to, yeah, I would say so.
A lot of people, and from here it looks like maybe he's going a lot after brown people, and we are considered brown people, as you can see. So I think Trump doesn't know.
I don't think they're interested. I forgot and did not show you guys this video. Now you're going to have to listen to what she's talking about, okay? She's talking about everybody's comparing what's going on to World War II, right? And the Nazis. Now listen, you got to listen to the story she's telling you while looking at the map on the screen. She'll be talking about World War I, the one we should have been fixated on. Even in school, you learn, like, you talk about World War II for like a fucking month in history class. You talk about World War I for like a week. It's insane. But World War I is the one we need to be talking about. Check this out. Watch the map at the bottom while she tells the story.
I know. I keep seeing all these comparisons to World War II, but as always, we're all forgetting about World War I, the war and the time period that we all really should have been studying over the last decade or so. But I've only yelled that into my phone a few dozen times. So pay attention. Here's how World War I started. And am I saying this is what's going to happen? No, but I am saying that the parallels are there. A massive world power, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, was looking to a smaller, relatively unknown chunk of land, in this case, Serbia, to
Greenland,
and absorb as part of their empire. The Serbian people said, we don't want that. We don't want to be part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Please don't come here. The Austro-Hungarians sent a representative of their empire, in this case the heir, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, to like parade around the Balkans and be like, we can't wait to control all of you.
If we send a diplomat to Greenland and they get assassinated, we're cooked. We're cooked.
While he's on this trip, he gets assassinated by a Serb nationalist slash terrorist slash revolutionary, whatever you want to call him. The Austro-Hungarian Empire issues an ultimatum to Serbia, basically saying, you're going to have to be ours now. They say, no, thank you. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. It could have been a minor war. Serbia would have lost to the Austro-Hungarian Empire very quickly and easily and would have been absorbed, except that Serbia was allied with Russia. Russia was looking on going, we don't like the idea of the Austro-Hungarian Empire getting bigger and expanding into this Balkan territory that frankly we have a lot of interest in controlling as well. And so Russia gets involved on behalf of Serbia. Now at this point, Austria-Hungary realizes that Russia is part of a triple alliance with France and Great Britain. And they're going, uh-oh, we're going to need some help. They look to their historic ally, Germany. Germany is an emerging power. They are growing one of the strongest militaries in the world. They have been looking for an opportunity to take more land and to take this.
So the way she's saying that if this plays out like World War I, we want Greenland. We're pressuring Greenland. Someone gets assassinated there. Boom. We're saying where we're going to take you. Well, then Europe's aligned with Greenland, right? Europe's aligned with Greenland, but Russia exists, and they want Ukraine. So what if we end up teaming up with Russia and say, you can have Ukraine, we're taking Greenland, Europe can eat a bag of dicks?
Triple alliance down a few pegs. So they happily join the war on behalf of Austria-Hungary, and they become part of these Central Powers. Meanwhile, there's a third Central Power out there who is also incentivized.
You're not in trouble or anything. It's just, and China wants Taiwan. They just clean up the chat just so we don't get in trouble. Twitch sets bots in my chat, and they look for keywords. You can see them if you go to the viewers list. They always have some type of weird fucking name that doesn't make any sense, and they never chat. But it's just a bot that's recording everything that's written in chat.
To join that part of the war because they also would like to grab some land while no one else is looking. And in this case, that's the Ottoman Empire. Do you see what I'm saying? I know. I keep seeing all these comparisons.
Imagine one of our diplomats ends up getting shot in Greenland, and they say that it was some Greenlander dissidents who teamed up with, some other country.
There are a few mass actions coming up this week that I, one, want you to know about, but two, just want to remind you from. Yes.
As a high school social studies teacher, I've always taught mania, which plays into the circumstances we are living in today. Military buildup, alliance building, nationalism, imperialism, and...
Same. I always taught the main long-term causes of World War I, but I like mania because it includes the assassination of the Archduke. So the main
assassination
of World War I, of course, were militaristic buildup fueled by industrialization, the complex alliance system, imperialism and industrialization, and then fierce nationalism. And these are all the parts, too, that if you look at our world today, of course, in some ways, we're dramatically different, and in other ways, we're really not. Like military buildup, right? I mean, we're in a similar transition period that they were in the early 1900s, right? So if we think about that, part of the reason why World War I was so terrible and brutal was because you had old military tactics, but fueled by this new military technology, right? So with industrialization, you have machine guns, you have early airplanes, you have chemical warfare. But the people that are choosing to go to war, like choosing to send us into war, not the soldiers, and the ones who are planning the battles are like old school dudes with big mustaches who fought in wars where it was like march, 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 kneel, point, shoot, right? But now you're sending young men across no man's land, across a huge empty field towards machine guns, towards chemical weapons, right? And
Dude, I think the craziest time in military history was
changes. We're in a similar
the era of the dreadnought boats, pre-dreadnought boats. It was just wild what the military was doing. Like it was fucking insane, the things they were trying to build.
Makes a battleship a dreadnought. HMS Dreadnought, launched in 1906, gave its name to a whole new type of battleship and made all the battleships that came before it more or less obsolete. But what's the difference? What are the features of a dreadnought that make it so much better than...
We actually, I don't know all the details of this story. We actually built this entire fleet of ships. They were these white, what were they called? They were white ships. They're still wooden ships. We built this entire fleet. America did this entire fleet and decided to sell them around the world to show off how powerful our Navy was. And by the time they got back 9 months later, every ship was obsolete. It was just done for. Like everything had built up so fast in this time.
Than all the old pre-dreadnoughts? Well, number one is the all-big gun armament. You see, pre-dreadnoughts had a mixed armament. They'd have a small number of heavy guns, maybe 12 or 13-inch caliber, say 4 of them in 2 twin turrets, and a significantly larger number of smaller weapons, 5, 6, 7-inch guns, like 10 or 12 of those. So they didn't really focus on either light or heavy guns, they just had loads of them. The theory being that naval battles would happen both at longer ranges when you needed the heavy guns, and at much shorter ranges where the smaller caliber, faster firing guns would be more useful. So something like equal weighting was given to both. But dreadnoughts prioritized having as many big guns as possible. Yes, they kept a secondary battery of smaller guns for use against torpedo boats.
The Great White Fleet. I guess I was right.
In the case of HMS Dreadnought, 10 12-inch guns. That's a main battery of 12-inch guns, 2.5 times bigger than the preceding class of British battleship. This was due to the fact that naval engagements were happening at longer and longer ranges. So to maximize long-range firepower, simplify range finding, and take advantage of...
Shit was just crazy back then. I don't know.
Today on History's Tech, we are looking at pre-dreadnought class battleships. These ships, otherwise known as first-class battleships, were part of the continuous development of the ironclad warship, especially from...
Oh, did you guys see, was it, let's see. Some countries sent in some fucking high-speed, low-drag motherfuckers. Oh, it was Andrew Callahan. Look at this.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here now at a remote...
Damn it, I probably can't play that music. Let me find a different one.
We're here now at a remote port in Greenland, where, as you can see down there, Denmark has just sent in the Arctic Special Forces. They got shiesties, they got camo, they got ghillie suits, they got big-ass dumpers, and they're about to walk up here. I'm shaking right now because I'm so nervous being an American.
What I find funny about all this is everyone's saying, no, there's no problem. Everything's cool. Everything's cool.
There's a military buildup there, even though everybody's like, oh, we're just in talks now, and Trump's just posturing, and Marco Rubio's trying to calm down Congress, saying, it's just the way he negotiates. There's troops building up.
And just more troops. Planes keep coming, ships keep coming. We got the special forces here unloading their weapons. There's a troop buildup. We've been saying it all along.
Hello, brothers. How you doing?
A hell of a troop buildup.
What regiment are you with?
So all
Can't tell you.
politicians are saying, yeah, no, everything's fine, nothing to see here. But as we were in the port this morning, 2 warships came in. The airport is being inundated by troop transport after military plane. These guys here are like full on night vision glasses, silencers, SEAL Team 6, Special Forces kind of shit. And we're going, well, what's happening? And every time we ask the question, no one will give us any answers. And these guys,
Andrew Callahan is on his way back from Greenland right now.
Guys wouldn't even give us their regiment. Something smells fishy.
Something smells fishy in Greenland.
While we're on the topic of Andrew Callahan, he was called out. I like Andrew Callahan. I think he does a decent job. He had this like Me Too scare for a little bit, then that just kind of went away. I don't know what happened with that, but I like Andrew Callahan. But he was called out by Nick Shirley. By the way, Burt Lynch doesn't know the difference between Nick Shirley and Nick Sorter. So we're gonna have to figure that out for him. Nick Shirley called out Andrew Callahan in Channel 5 News. This was the interview that Nick Shirley went on when he couldn't say benevolence. He said benevolent. And what did he call him out for? I'm about to show you. It says, watch this. I sat down with a journalist who claims to be left-leaning, and what does he do? He edits a 2.5 hour long interview into 1 hour and cuts any part where he looks bad. Journalism is only journalism when you show the truth. When you only post what will benefit yourself and party, it becomes propaganda. Thought people deserve to see how the interview actually went when you sit down and agree to do a podcast-style interview and expect full interview to be posted, not chopped-up version where it only shows one side of the story. I was cool with Andrew and knew he thought differently than me politically, but thought it would be interesting and honest conversation. However, when I saw him post the interview, I thought, what is this? That's not how the interview went. By the way, he was told that they always edit. Andrew has to edit. He does such long videos. He has to keep your attention, right? And it was obvious he just wanted to make me look bad for whatever reason. Now, I don't disagree that it wasn't my best interview. I wasn't in the best mental, physical shape after 72 hours, the most crazy days of my life, but I agreed to do the interview anyways. Anyways, good lesson for me. And anyways, good lesson for me and for you guy too. I wish Andrew and the C5 the best in whatever they do in the future and hope we both leer to avoid this situation in the future as it's the benevolent thing to do. However, at the end of the day, it wasn't cool to do. So let's see if he has any valid claims here.
Let's move over to the next topic when we're talking about Somalia.
Starting it over.
All right, this is super important, and I also...
By the way, what you're going to see is that Andrew's editing, where they got all the dead air and all the stuttering and mispronunciation and his retard Andrew made him look less retarded, and he's mad about it.
Learned a great lesson here. So the other week, I sat down with Andrew Callahan in Channel 5 to do a sit-down podcast-style interview for his channel. And when he goes and posts the video, I see he just posted an hour-long interview. I said, well, that's weird, because we actually spoke for around 2.5 hours. And then I go and watch the interview, and I'm saying, well, what is this? This is not what happened. For instance, this clip right here.
What American city is prospering right now? Austin. Austin. Name another one. El Paso, Texas. El Paso, Texas is prospering? Yeah. Nashville's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of...
In any place that's not Democrat.
I don't know about that. I mean,
name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
Denver.
Why are you smirking? It's not prospering.
All right, so that's the clip Andrew posted.
Most of those cities are Democrat run. They're just not in Democratic states.
But this is the actual interaction of how it went.
So he's got a secret camera over here recording, first of all, but here we go.
Denver. Why are you smirking? Because I don't know if it's prospering. It's not.
See, you can't answer the question. It's not prospering. Denver's not prospering either.
I agree that Democrat-run states are doing.
So basically, he said Denver and kind of smirked. He said, why are you smirking? He said, I don't know. But when they looked it up after the show, Denver is actually doing really good. So he added in the screenshot where it says Denver is doing good.
Andrew didn't put that in, right? Maybe his base or something would not be happy with that response because he obviously got caught lying. And anyways, let's move over to the next topic when we're talking about Somalians being...
one more. Andrew responded, so we're going to watch it.
Inside of Minnesota is by Somalians. This is the interaction that Andrew posted.
This is the dumbest fucking goddamn... So what they're saying, when they say 89% of the fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalians, the one case that white woman was in charge of, the COVID food funds or whatever, of the people convicted in that scam, 89% of them were Somalians. Of the 90 people or whatever, 80 some of them, whatever, right? 89% of people in that case were claimed to be Somalian, okay? That is not the same as all the fraud in Minnesota, 89% of it is committed by Somalians, which is what he keeps fucking saying. And even the screenshot that he showed Andrew, when Andrew said, are you sure you got sources for that? Even the screenshot says that it's not true. It's only about that one case. Imagine if I took one case on a fucking illegal gambling place we busted. And it's a black-ran, black-visited gambling site. And I say, and out of that, 100% of the people arrested were 100 people, and they're all black, okay? And then I say, out of all the illegal gambling in Georgia, 100% of it is committed by black people. See how one case, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Somali community, or do you see it as both?
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians.
Where exactly is that statistic from?
You can pull it up on the screen. You'll find it.
I just want to know where it's from.
You want me to find it right now? For sure.
And that's what he pulled up and showed him. The statement, 89% of fraud in Somalia, a claim originated by our social media video, not from official source. The claim has been widely circulated, but the official information from U.S. authorities specifies the demographics of those charged in specific large-scale fraud cases. Specific cases. In major fraud cases involving an estimated $1 billion in fraud of stolen federal funds, it's the Feeding Our Future scandal. 82 of the 92 individuals charged are Somalian Americans, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. So in one case, 89% of them.
Just so I don't know, I believe you. I just want to make sure we have the exact...
Here, right here. Yeah, and it's not racist to say it. Probably. And when I go...
This is what happens when I show him the fact that 89% of the people who have been charged for fraud in Minnesota are Somalians. This is what Andrew had to say. But remember, he conveniently left this out of the interview.
89%.
So he's trying to read his phone here, and he's like, oh, I guess he has a source. I guess that's right.
Charged in connection with major... Why don't identify Somali Americans? Well, looks like we got to redo it. I'm interested to see what you put in this interview. It looks like there's a problem with fraud.
So there you go. That's just two examples.
He said, looks like there's a problem with fraud.
From
now watch.
Andrew Callahan, where he literally...
The screenshot they show on screen is the screenshot that fucking Nick Gave to him.
Went out of his way to try and make me look bad, which is not cool. And I wouldn't say that's like very benevolent of him to do by any means. But I promise you guys, if I ever do an interview with anyone, you're going to get the full product because I think that's just like the most benevolent thing to do. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed and you guys were able to see through what.
We already know that his interviews are cut. Even his interview with his source, that Dave guy or whatever the fuck his name is, was cut. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Fucking stupid shit. All right, so let's see. Let's go back to Twitter. We'll go to Channel 5 News. We're going to get the response. Guys, fuck him. Full response to Nick Shirley addressing each of his claims and explaining our editing process. We provided screenshot receipts of Andrew's text and Nick after the video dropped. There's the claim. It says Andrew's comments on the video. Hey, guys, this last video I wanted to make, but unfortunately, Nick Shirley has chosen to take a coward's route after self-admittedly disastrous appearance on Channel 5. Suggesting to his millions of followers that I manipulated our interview and post-production in a way that mischaracterized our interaction, which is the complete opposite of the truth. Still, Nick's lies have led to a shitstorm of negative attention that I don't have the patience to ignore. Busted out something real quick on the plain Wi-Fi. Here's a video explaining everything with complete evidence and receipts. Greenland coverage coming soon. Let's watch the video now.
All right, so normally and historically, my policy for whenever somebody's saying some factually inaccurate stuff about me online is to turn the other cheek, keep my head down, and get back to grinding. But in this case, with Mr. Nick Shirley, who is now falsely accusing me of conducting an unfairly edited interview, I think I'm going to pick option 2 and let people know what went down. Journalistic integrity is something that I kind of take a little bit seriously, and I can see a future wherein access is limited to prominent people, especially conservatives, if I don't dispel this false narrative immediately in its entirety right the heck now. So to do this right, I'll have to show you a couple of things, including text messages between him and I.
Nick's a fucking disaster, and why would anybody ever interview him?
And actual footage of the working premiere sequence that I used to edit the interview so you can see what was cut and why. So let's begin with an editing lesson. So when we're dealing with a long-form interview of somebody who talks very slowly and circles back to repetitive talking points, one of the first things...
And what he means is retarded. Someone who talks very slowly and circles back around and around and around, he's retarded. When you're interviewing a retarded person...
we do in post-production is cutting what's called dead air, which means long pauses between words or sentences or fixable verbal stammers to slow down the conversation and risk boring the viewer. So in this raw interview with Nick, which had a total runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, we had to cut nearly a half an hour of dead air to make it listenable. Many people like to choose their words carefully, so I get it, but there was a couple points.
I think the biggest takeaway is that he's making fun of the Quality Learning Center because they misspelled their sign, and he can't say the word benevolence.
In the interview,
and he's mad that people have memed the fuck out of that.
Person, we had to have Nick repeat himself because the crew felt that no amount of corrective editing would possibly be able to make him sound normal.
It's been
even the crew had to step in and say, "Can you say that again? You sounded retarded." Like
interesting few days, past 72 hours. My video on the expose of
listen to this explanation.
Minnesota is the most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than Mr. Beast.
Most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than what? It's only on Twitter that claim's even accurate, and that's because Elon Musk shared it. Elon Musk doesn't retweet Mr. Beast, but go ahead. Go off, Queen.
Video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than Mr. Beast.
Can you say the fraud in Minnesota again? Because you kind of stuttered.
Yeah. Wait, are there going to be cuts in this or just going to be one take?
Which will make it perfect. So if we ask for say it again, it's just to make sure you say it perfectly.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah.
So he tells him right off the bat, he says, are they going to be cuts in this? And he says, no, we're going to make it perfect. So if you misspeak or something, we'll have you re-say it and we'll make it perfect, right? We understand people mess up, stutter, say the wrong thing or quote the wrong thing, especially when you're trying to throw out facts. It's not a debate, right? It's not a gotcha. We're going to let you repeat it and we're going to make it perfect. And of course he has to cut the dead air. Have you ever heard this motherfucker talk at normal speed?
So my video on the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, expose style, than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast.
So bear with me here. I'm going to
Then anybody, expose style, he just adds in randomly, which takes it down a notch. If it's the most viewed video, then it's the most viewed video. If it's the most viewed video in expose style, you're adding another qualifier. That makes it less. What the fuck? And then he says, except by the name of Mr. Beast. Except by the name of. What the fuck does this mean? How can you not speak?
so my video on the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever by a creator, longer than 10 minutes, expose style, than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast.
So bear with.
Than anybody other than the name of Mr. Beast. Did you think if you said viewed more than any other video other than Mr. Beast's videos, that we'd be confused and be like, what is Mr. Beast? Is that a name or a place? Is it a thing? What is it? Like, what the fuck is... He can't speak. And Andrew made him look better.
Me here, I'm going to show you the raw footage, and we'll see how with the magic of editing, we were able to make Nick sound actually smarter and faster than he was in person. Check this out.
And how does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the HHS, Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota and then they're asking for...
I'm slowing it down to real time. We deserve to bask in his retardation.
To prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax S. Health and Human Services, they froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses that are not really businesses.
And how does that make you feel, like gratification-wise, as an independent journalist?
Well, I think it's the first video you've seen in a long time where a journalist actually went and created a video that created a change instantaneously. For instance, you had the Health and Human Services. They froze all funding to childcare inside of Minnesota, and then they're asking for businesses to prove that they are legit businesses before they give tax dollars to these businesses.
So,
see how much more coherent he made him? He literally translated for us.
in that interview, we probably did that same thing as far as trimming dead air and splicing B-roll.
Nick Showy.
Probably 30 times, as you can
look at all these cuts they had to make.
See here on the timeline, and it was never to take him out of context, but to help him get his point across. We do this for every good faith interview or 5-cast we've conducted so far. From Hunter Biden, which had a raw runtime of 5 hours before being cut to 324.
He even shows Hunter Biden stuttering and like trying to come up, like it's like he's stuttering almost like a gap filler while he's trying to think of something he can't remember.
To Hunter Kozak, to Alex Jones, to Hamilton Morris, Jan DeSanti, to pretty much everybody we've ever talked to.
Yeah, exactly.
And the goddamn MAGA fucking retards that support Nick Shirley are in the comments being like, so you're telling us it's not edited while showing us that you edited it? Huh. What the fuck?
100% not. Is that the
and this was an amazing interview. If you've not seen this interview with Hunter Biden, it's fucking amazing.
And there's this conflation that people have. I mean, I think they're open.
The goddamn MAGA tards in the chat are like, yeah, we saw your interview with Hunter Biden. You didn't ask him any hard-hitting questions. Dude, he asked him about smoking crack and fucking whores. They went over the entire Russian laptop. What hard-hitting questions did you want? They went over the fucking money he made as a CEO in Ukraine. They went over the 10% of the big guy. They went over everything. Didn't ask him no hard-hitting questions. But here, Hunter Biden stutters.
Opening up an investigation to cocaine that was found in a cubby outside the West Wing of the White House.
You know, we are.
So they cut that down to like there's an investigation over cocaine in the West Wing of the White House.
Live streamers or live podcasters, and we like to package our interviews for efficiency and entertainment value. So
dude, it is so hard. Like, I guarantee you, he probably would have dropped 30% of his viewers when Nick started stuttering and saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, or when he got to the point where he was trying to, other than anybody that's ever will be or ever has been of the name and the name that we describe, the YouTuber that uses the name Mr. Beast or Mr. Beast's videos. Like, he would have lost 30% of the viewers that watched the whole fucking thing right there.
It's just something that we do. So the other cuts in the Nick Shirley interview that weren't dead air related were conversational beefs that I personally found either boring, repetitive, or so off topic to the point that they derailed the conversation away from its intended.
There's a point in here where Nick Shirley, Andrew asked him, he says, Nick, I saw you started like a meme coin. He's like, no, it's not a cryptocurrency meme coin. It's it's a cryptocurrency meme coin for a video platform. Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Focus, which was fraud in Minnesota and Shirley's personal background. We cut probably 25 minutes of unproductive, redundant banter about Portland, Mormonism, gay marriage, his new crypto coin. I heard you also made a coin of some kind?
I did not. Well, I didn't make a coin. I just joined a platform where you can monetize your content.
Listen.
And there actually, so yeah, it is a coin.
Yeah, it is a coin. Yeah.
Your content, just similar to like how you upload.
It is. I didn't make a coin. I went to this platform where, other than people with the name of that sometimes go by the name you might hear sometimes on in video creation, when sometimes they go by Mr. Yeah, it is a coin.
TikTok, you can upload your stuff on there. It's just based off Coinbase.
The history.
I swear, MAGA people celebrate the biggest fucking retards. There is an ammunition company that has followers because of their hardcore stance of pro-Second Amendment right now, that has a post blowing up talking shit about people aligned with the left having ARs to defend themselves in Minnesota. Like, they celebrate the most hypocritical, dumb fucks I've ever fucking met. Like, the guy's like, oh, you think this leftist is going to shoot an ICE agent while he's using an arm brace that he registered with the ATF? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
And ethics and welfare in America, and 6 whole, nearly identical.
This is literally the screenshot that Nick Shirley gave them and showed to them.
Back and forths about his 89% statistic that he falls back on unchallenged.
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians, and 89% of the fraud being committed inside Minnesota is by the Somalian population. 89% of the fraud happening by people who were brought into our country and then committing fraud. So 89% of the fraud happening in Minnesota is from the Somalian population.
Right, but 95% of Somali Americans in Minnesota are legal.
Yeah, 89% of Somalians are committing fraud.
Since we ended up including an extensive dialogue about that stat around the 50-minute mark of the final cut.
By the way, 95% of Somalians in Minnesota are not legal now because Trump's in their temporary protective status.
I personally didn't feel the need to torture all of you guys with 5 other versions of that conversation.
89% of the population, or 89% of the fraud being committed in Minnesota is by Somalians.
And just so we can put that on screen to verify, do you know where that data is from?
Yes, you can put it up on screen. It's up, it's public.
And if you watch that raw cut, the 2-hour cut, which I made clear and tech.
By the way, he tells him, Nick says, nice, Greenland will be epic and cold. Let me know if you need any locals. I still have some contacts there. Just curious, why didn't you post the 2-hour interview instead of the selected 1-hour interview? Now, selected is a loaded word. Like, you picked this and selected it, right? Not cut it for time, not cut out the ums, not cut out. Selected is a loaded word. Andrew says, yeah, man, I could definitely use your contacts. I primarily cut it down because either dead air, which is pauses, stammering, or moments of silence, but also trimmed the topic some. Mainly ones that I felt unfocused or took listeners away from the main topics of fraud, new media, and your upbringing and style, etc. Pretty standard for us when it comes to raw, long-form interviews. For Hunter Biden, we shaved off even more. If you want the raw angles and the audio, I can send it all to you. Clip for your own channel. Whatever you want, man. Does that sound like it was dirty, underhanded? Like, I'm going to make myself look good and make you look like shit? You better hope you had a hidden video camera. He's like, I'll send you the whole fucking thing. No big deal.
With Nick that I was willing to share with him in 4K when I got back from Greenland, you will see exactly what I mean. This is not a Sacha Baron Cohen style ambush edit or a Jim Jeffries Avi Yemeni situation where I primed him, by saying crazy shit to get his guard down and then Shanghai him with post-production. I was trying to help Nick Shirley, which it seems up until yesterday he really appreciated. So after the interview came out about a week ago, he texted me right out.
He has no context for how bad he looks or how retarded he is. His mom watched the interview. His mom saw the memes. His mom said, he did you dirty, honey. You got to say something about this. This is like that Kamala Harris on 60 Minutes.
After saying the backdrop of this interview is hilarious. It was filmed in his uncle's upscale game room in Farmington, Utah, in front of several taxidermied bears that were presumably killed by the Shirley family. He goes on to say, fun watching the reaction from both sides.
Fun watching the reaction from both sides. Appreciate you coming out. Wish you the best in all you do, bro. Does that sound like a guy that was hoodwinked, or that he thinks that the video is edited to make him look bad?
Appreciate you coming out. Wish you the best in all you do, bro. To which I replied kindly. But then the Clippers started doing the thing that they do counterbite it, finding the most outrageous or dumb soundbite in the entire piece and memeing it into oblivion while missing the entire point of the dialogue, which was to try to find common ground on issues like affordability and the collapse.
He should have just shut up and made a joke. Yeah, I can't say the word, but how's benevolence. But, you know, I did uncover all this fraud in Minnesota. So, like, that's it.
To the mainstream media. I mean, I fundamentally hope that everything you're saying is...
Attacking Andrew will not end well for anybody who wants to get his message to. The brainwashed sycophants, yes. Fuck Andrew. We'll never watch. They weren't watching him anyways. Ever since he came out and in here, when he asked him about Trump, first of all, Andrew said he wasn't a fan of Trump before and that he's left-leaning. Not he's left, not he's a Democrat, not he votes, you know, blue. He's left-leaning, more left-leaning than right-leaning on most topics. And then in this interview, he said he does not like Trump. He does not think that what Trump's doing is going to benefit America or Americans. And he thinks that Trump is taking care of the wealthy donor class. So it's not like he lost any viewers.
True, just so you know.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, like it's like, I mean,
like I hope we
Nick Shirley just looks more retarded now that these clips are out.
all have the best interest in society and for our people, because the affordability is insane and people can't buy houses. And if we're talking about creating change, we need to let innovation prosper inside the United States.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing it. We're not seeing it.
Let innovation prosper in the United States is another one of those tech bro things, right? For deregulation, Trump passes a law that says no state can interfere with any company doing AI inside their own fucking borders. Shit like that.
In fact, we're seeing fraudsters take our money.
If you guys saw, the clip that did the most rounds was when Nick tried and failed to pronounce the word benevolent. Who do you think are the three most benevolent billionaires?
Right-wing cope.
Benevolent.
Just well-intentioned, positive billionaires who you think are creating, you know, net positive societal progress.
Andrew Callahan says Nick is so fucking dumb. He mispronounced it both times. So there was no way that we could clip it and cut it out to make him not seem retarded.
Trump, our president?
Because he never said it right and said benevolent twice, there was no way to cut the dead air or trim the stammer. So we left it in. And personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal to not know that word. I mean, he is wearing a hoodie that is making fun of immigrants for their spelling errors, but benevolent has more syllables than learning, so I get it. But the comments on this clip were brutal. Like actually genuinely mean, and it couldn't have felt good from his perspective to read these things. We're talking tens of thousands of people declaring this guy is retarded, which he's not. But there are some moments in the interview that even with dead air trimmed for speed, Nick does not give his best performance, particularly when blaming immigrants for rising rent prices.
It's just simple.
He lost this debate right here. Well, it's supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand.
Supply and demand. If you have 20 million.
You think immigrants are coming here within the last 4 years and buying up all the houses, but they're also poor, broke, on welfare, you know, milking the system. They won't fucking work, and they're taking our jobs. Shut the fuck up.
Only people who need to come and buy a house or rent an apartment, and you have other people who need it, you're going to raise the prices.
Suggesting that Muslim Americans keep multiple wives in private while dismissing the association with his own religion, Mormon.
Yes, this motherfucker out loud, when he brought up Muslims with multiple wives, and Andrew said, what about like the Mormons in Utah? He said that doesn't happen. That's not real. Nope, that's just fear-mongering.
And polygamy as just a harmful stereotype. As far as the wives go, that's not a thing in Utah?
It's not a thing in Utah.
That's a negative stereotype?
Negative stereotype.
And also...
It's as much a thing in Utah as it is with Muslims in the U.S. 100%.
Confronting me about staying silent on the death of Charlie Kirk, while admitting that he consciously chose to not watch the video that I made in the immediate aftermath of it.
And so I thought that was...
This is the worst part. he calls out Andrew for not saying anything about the death of Charlie Kirk. Andrew has a 2-hour interview where they talk about the death of Charlie Kirk. He says, did you watch the video? He said, no, I didn't want to. He's like, well, you should watch. That's where I talked about it. Nope, didn't even want to after you didn't say anything.
Kind of messed up of you to not publicly denounce what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I did.
And I didn't even watch the interview because I didn't want to watch that.
Well, you should watch it.
I don't want to.
Well, you should watch the video because I say some stuff in it.
Okay, cool.
None of these moments were a very good look for Nick, but I did not engineer them that way. And if I was...
You didn't say anything about this topic. I did in this video. Well, I didn't watch it. Well, you should because that's where I say it. I don't want to. Well, okay.
Betting man, I would suggest that much of the hostility displayed toward him in the comments is because his reporting, which was signal boosted by Trump and his cronies, has been a driving factor in ICE's decision to escalate their presence in Minneapolis. You know, kidnapping kids from local high schools, terrorizing U.S. citizens in their own communities, shooting people in the streets, and hiding behind masks like the goddamn cowards they are. However, that's just my personal opinion. I don't like ICE. I don't like Trump, which is something that I made clear to Nick in the interview.
What do you think about Trump?
I don't like him. There was no deception anywhere, but sometimes, and I'm not sure what the word is for this in the journalism field, the person that you interview views your fans as an extension of you. So if your fans are dicks to them, they kind of feel like that's you shading them, and that's definitely what happened. Right after the benevolent clip went micro-viral, Nick began to send texts to me that alluded to the footage being manipulated, writing, "Greenland will be epic and cold. Let me know if you need any locals." I still have some contacts there. Just curious though, why didn't you post a full 2+ hour interview instead of the selected 1 hour of the interview? Notice the word selected. Nick suggests that I cherry pick.
Loaded. That's exactly right.
Which is concerning because we consciously did the opposite. But as you can see from these texts, I explained our entire editing process to him, as I did to all of you. And as I mentioned, even offered to send him all of the raw video files when I get home from Greenland, which I'm doing now, and gave him full permission to clip any and all moments of the piece for his own socials. Fast forward to 2 days later. I wake up in Nuuk, Greenland to see that Nick has posted a video filmed on a side camera, captioned something like, "In case you guys want to know how the interview really went, here's this." Nick's bullshit crybaby video here points to 2 pieces of damning evidence. Exhibit A. Nick grills me here about Democrat cities being catastrophic failures after failing to understand that I am not a supporter of the Democrat Party. I am from Seattle, a failed blue city, and then asks me to name thriving blue cities. So I named Austin, Nashville, El Paso, and then while smirking, I mentioned Denver because as shown in Nick's angle, I didn't actually know if Denver was doing well because I don't spend much time in Colorado.
Like, when have you seen an American city? What American city is prospering right now?
Austin.
Austin. Name another one.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas is prospering?
Yeah. I think.
Why you think?
It's doing better. New bars and restaurants have opened, but I can probably think of some better examples.
Like what?
Nashville's doing good. Austin's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of.
In any place that's not Democrat.
I don't know about that. I mean,
name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
A city inside of a blue state that is prospering. Denver.
Why are you smirking?
Because I don't know if it's prospering or not.
Because it's not. See, you can't even answer the question, dude.
I don't.
It's not prospering. Denver's not prospering either.
But in post-production, I did some research and found out that my intuition was correct. Denver is currently experiencing a decline in violence and property crime, a large influx in population, job growth in the aerospace, tech, and healthcare sectors, and a number of other great things. So I chose to trim a brief section after I mentioned Denver that indicates a bit of self-doubt, given that I ended up being correct. I also trimmed a soundbite where I said that many Democrat cities will run poorly because it was redundant. After our conversation about Denver, I then launched into a tirade about how I am not a Democrat, don't believe in the capacity of the two-party system to enact meaningful change, believe that Gavin Newsom has misappropriated California's tax revenue through NGOs, reinforce my belief in voting on the local level, and then give Nick the benefit of the doubt and say that I hope he's right about Trump and the GOP's ability to mitigate the affordability crisis that's made many places like my hometown, Seattle, unlivable for those who grew up there. So I support support voting on a local level for sure. I also suggest if you're watching this and you want to see videos that I've made about dysfunctional blue cities, watch San Francisco streets, Albuquerque streets, Las Vegas tunnels, and Philly streets. So the second clip that Nick posted really makes my blood boil because it is so disingenuous. As I mentioned 6 or 7 times in this interview, Nick references the stat that 89% of fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalis. We aired the version where we asked him to show us the data on his phone, which he found using Google search results powered by ChatGPT. So in the video he posted, we can see me look in the camera after he shows it to me and saying something like, all right, damn, I guess he's right then. Let's put that on screen.
Here, right here, the figure 89% does not represent the total percentage of all fraud in Minnesota. Instead,
he's reading it right now. 89% does not represent the total fraud in Minnesota. Instead,
it refers to the percentage of individuals charged in connection with specific high-profile federal fraud cases.
Yeah, the one. Feeding Our Future or whatever it was called.
Millions.
89% of those charged in connection with major... Wow.
Identified as Somalian Americans.
Well, looks like it looks like
I'm interested to see what you put in this interview because
looks like there is a problem with fraud. He is kind of right. However, the stat refers specifically to the already litigated Feeding Our Future case, which resulted in over 60 fraud convictions in Minnesota. The ringleader of the nonprofit behind the scam, Amy Bach, is white, but it is true that 89% of convicted defendants in that case were Somali. And that's what makes me so pissed about this particular piece of evidence that Nick presents. The exact thing that he is showing me on his phone in the video is what I put on screen on the final cut. I did exactly what I said I would. He frames my decision to put that on screen as some kind of like liberal ball-busting fact check, but it's actually supplemental context for something he is
Austin is a liberal city, yes.
showing me, which is why it pisses me off. So that's all I have to say. I'm just in a phase in my life where I've been doing this for so long, and I care about this so much, so I don't want to play these kind of games, especially with people who can't take an L. I want to put my credibility on the line by spinning things in a way that benefits their reputation.
He literally went out of his way to try and make me look bad, which is not cool, and I wouldn't say that's like very benevolent of him to do.
I think my policy moving forward, especially when working with people who are filming their own versions of things and lack the integrity to be honest with their fan base, is to either go live during every interview or upload the full raw files on Patreon the moment a final cut hits YouTube, so there's no room for these kinds of shenanigans, because it's exhausting, and I've got real investigations and real documentaries in the field, in the works, that I need to prioritize over these malevolent antics. 2026, keep my fucking name out your mouth. 5.
Channel 5 live worldwide, Hollywood and Vine. Fuck the authority, Channel 5 News.
Fucking insane that he tried to expose them and comes out looking more retarded than ever. These people are wild, man. Fucking insane. Here's some more lies. I gotta go soon.
We had in my area in Queens, I grew up in Queens, we had a place called Creedmoor.
Donald Trump is trying to talk about mental institutions. Because anybody that's an asylum seeker escaped from a mental asylum.
We had in my area in Queens, I grew up in Queens, we had a place called Creedmoor. Creedmoor, did anybody know that? Creedmoor. It was a big, I said, Mom, why are those bars on the building? I used to play Little League Baseball there at a place called Cunningham Park. He was quite the baseball player, you wouldn't believe. But I said to my mother, Mom, she would be there, always there for me. She said, son, you could be a professional baseball player. I said, thanks, Mom. I said, why are those bars on the windows? Big building, big, powerful building. It loomed over the park, actually. She said, well, people that are very sick are in that building. I said, boy, I used to always look at that building and I'd see this big building, big.
Could have been pro. Could have been pro.
Sort of. Now that I think it was a pretty unfriendly sight, but I'll never forget. I don't know if it's still there, because they got rid of most of them. You know, the Democrats in New York, they took them down, and the people live on the streets now. That's why you have a lot of the people in California and other places, they live in the streets. They took the mental institutions down. They're expensive. But I'd say, why does that building have those bars? Boy, it wasn't normal. You know, you're used to looking at like a window. But this one, you look at it, all this steel, vicious steel, tiny windows, bars all over the place.
Vicious steel.
Nobody was getting out. It's called the
We're going to watch, next show, we're going to watch this full press briefing.
institution. That was an insane asylum. Designated Antifa, as we had in my area. I'm just looking at these charges. It's just pretty incredible. Many murderers, many murderers. People that murdered.
No one's asking to keep those people here. Not a single person. Oh, there was a really good video. If I can find it. It's in my watch history. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Is that it already?
5 ICE agents choked a man to death in Fort Bliss, Texas, and then ICE issued a press release saying that their medical staff performed life-saving measures after noticing he was in medical distress. Now DHS has changed their story and issued a statement to the Washington Post that he died after attempting to take his own life. It's funny how their stories never seem to line up with reality. See, witnesses told the Washington Post a different story, that Geraldo Campos was resisting going into the segregated unit because he didn't have his medications, when 5 ICE agents then choked him for resisting, and then he kept saying in Spanish, "I can't breathe," and then he died. I guess ICE forgot that little detail in their press release. But the medical examiner has now told Campos's daughter that his death will likely be ruled a homicide due to asphyxia. ICE and DHS are actively lying to cover up their crimes, even when we have overwhelming evidence to prove their guilt. And ICE agents have been told that they have absolute immunity for their crimes. So the only surprising thing should be that you're surprised at all that ICE choked a man to death and then lied to cover it up. 5 ICE agents choked a man to death in Fort Bliss.
Fucking insane, right?
Issued a press release saying,
we have 4 members of the PayPal Mafia in the cabinet orchestrating a purchase backed by Promonos Capital and Coinbase Ventures to have a Prospera-like city in Greenland. No, by the way, last month, we pardoned the very man, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who helped create the framework for Prospera. The framework creator pardoned. We announced we're going to Greenland. Ron's investing in Greenland. Ken Howry's confirmed to be able to be the Greenlandian communication for us, also that we can create a freedom city in Greenland. Guys, when people talk about like world order stuff, when people talk about technocracies and plutocracies and all these crazy words that, you know, the first time you heard them, you had to look up the definition of them. That's what this is. That's what we're looking at. And we want to bring this very thing to, and this is the big point, to America. So we're pivoting to Greenland. And Greenland is one place all the billionaires are excited about. They're investing in the tech, they're investing in the mining, they're investing in everything that has to do with the Freedom City, because they want this 1% business tax, no FDI regulation, crypto first, no national law, no red tape, make death optional type vibe. We have 4 members of the PayPal Mafia in the cabinet orchestrating a purchase backed by...
We are the bad guys. All right, there's a trend going around where you do an impression of an owl, but it's, you know, the owl's like from New Jersey. Here, I'll show you. Because I got a good one to show you.
This is my impression of an owl that was on the Titanic.
This is my impression of an owl that only hangs out with the guys because girls are too much drama.
This is my impression of an owl if an owl was Lois Griffin.
How? Peter, who is that? Is that the horse?
This is my impression of an owl, but if it was Mickey Mouse.
Oh! Oh! Get my impression of Maya Angelou as an owl.
This is my impression of a black owl.
This is my impression of an owl from Nigeria.
Helen Keller as an owl.
This is my impression of an owl,
but the owl's Respucia. This is my impression of an owl, but it is a poem.
All right, so we got a couple good ones out of this. Let me show you two.
This is my impersonation of an owl, but it's Usha Vance finally addressing the Erica Kirk of it all. Who? This is my impression of an owl, but it's Erica Kirk. Who? This is my impression of an owl.
And then this one came out.
This is my impression of an owl, but it's that one podcaster.
Charlie Kirk.
Thank you. This is my impression of an owl, but it's that one podcaster. Thank you.
And the first comment says, "Are we counting or not counting owl on owl violence?"
This is my impression of an owl, but it's that one podcaster.
The title of the video has got it in one shot. And then we have this. Now, I'm about to show you a video, and the person they're talking about is a bad guy. I'm not defending the guy. I'm not defending his actions, not defending his charges. I think the guy should be in trouble. But it begs the question, even though the guy that we're going to be talking about is a bad guy, why would the administration need to lie about it and make it worse?
Over the last few days, I've seen lots of stories like this one coming out of Minnesota.
ICE arrests convicted sexual predator who was allowed to roam free in Minneapolis because of Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Frey's sanctuary policies. This has been everywhere.
Where ICE is claiming that all they want to do is arrest predators and that Democrats are trying to stop them. Here's that same story that ICE posted.
We found an arrested Somali criminal, illegal alien, and convicted sex offender, Yusuf, in the Minneapolis area. His horrific crimes include first-degree criminal sexual conduct, where he forced his victim to perform oral sex on him multiple times. Okay, so the guy's not good. That did happen. The victim forced the victim to perform oral sex on him multiple times. That happened. The guy's a piece of shit and should be deported. But why are they lying about it?
To social media. And let me be clear, in no way do I defend or protect predators. And in most instances, I think the criminal justice system is entirely too lax on people who commit these crimes. But more importantly, I'm here to tell you that this isn't true. And I chose this story specifically because if ICE is willing to lie to you and exaggerate about people who have committed crimes.
They even wrote it on this Polaroid, first-degree sexual predator.
This person did commit a crime, not get into it. What do you think they're doing about all of the innocent people that they are detaining? So what is the truth? Here's that story again from the ICE website. And they are claiming three things: that he is an illegal alien, that he was convicted of sexual conduct in the first degree, and that he was arrested in 2016 for assault in the first degree. All three of those things are not true. First up, is he an illegal alien? Well, right down here in their own press release, they tell you that he is not. They say he originally entered the United States in 1996 and was...
How can he be an illegal alien and a lawful permanent resident? How can anybody be an illegal alien, a criminal illegal alien, and a lawful permanent resident? How can that happen?
Lawful permanent resident. That means he had a green card. However, he threw away his shot at the American dream by repaying our country's generosity with these vicious crimes. So read that again. What they are not telling you.
So do you lose citizenship when you commit a crime? Or is there a process by which the federal government, not the state government, the federal government needs to go through to revoke your status? Because, spoiler alert, the federal government has not went through any process to revoke his status. In fact, right now, he's still not an illegal alien.
Is that they revoked his green card. They're just telling you that he had a green card and he also committed crimes. And your green card can be revoked if you commit certain crimes, but it has to be revoked by an immigration judge. And there's no evidence that that happened in this case.
It has to be revoked by a judge.
And if there was evidence, don't you think they would have put it in their press release and said...
So, right off the bat, he's not an illegal alien.
originally had a green card.
And Minnesota didn't release an illegal alien so he could go rape people or whatever they're claiming.
It was revoked in X year. No, they're just telling you he threw away his shot at the American dream. So based on all available information, he still has a green card. He just committed crimes, and if an immigration judge wants to deport him for those crimes, they can start those proceedings. So not an illegal alien. Next, he was convicted for this in the first degree. Let's look it up. Court records are usually public information, so I'm going to search them for Minnesota where this person lives. It's called the Minnesota Court Records Online System, and you can find it right here. It brings you
What this entire story is, a person who is in the country legally committed a crime, received due process that he was entitled to, and was in the process of serving his sentence that was ordered by a judge. He did bad things. He was being punished for those things as applicable under current U.S. law. That's all. But that doesn't make quite the headline, does it?
you here, you can click to access, enter his name, and search for records. Scroll, you can find the case they're talking about. It happened in 2020, and he was convicted of criminal conduct in the 5th degree.
In the 5th degree? But they said that he was a 1st degree. They went out of their way to write it on the bottom of the Polaroid. 1st degree. Why would they lie about that? Like, he's still a piece of shit. He's still a sexual predator. If you want to revoke his authorization to be here, fine, do it. I'm all on board. I'll clap. Right? Why lie about the degree of his crime? And go out of your way. They had to edit an image to put a Polaroid around his booking photo. And then someone had to type in that he was convicted of the 1st degree. And the Post said he was convicted of the 1st degree. That's a big difference.
Degree.
So he's not an illegal alien. He wasn't convicted of sexual crimes in the 1st degree.
1st degree, like they are claiming. And remember, 1st degree is worse than 5th degree. I can't say all the details of the case here, but if you go in here and read it, it's bad. This person committed a bad crime. It is also summarized here in caps. You continue to scroll in here and find that he entered into a guilty plea. You can click it here and see that he pled guilty to criminal sexual conduct in the 5th degree. On the same page, you can also find his sentencing order. You can see that he was sentenced to 364 days in jail. Why was he sentenced to 364 days in jail? Because if you look up criminal sexual conduct in the 5th degree in Minnesota, you will see that 364 days is the maximum allowed.
So the judge, to make this worse, the judge in the case gave him the maximum penalty that he could face.
Days is the maximum allowed sentence. So he was sentenced to the most time in jail he could for the crime that he was convicted of. Because I assure you, I am never trying to pull a fast one on you. You may have noticed that it said his sentence was stayed for 2 years. In legal terms, stayed means paused. So while he was sentenced to jail time, it was put on pause for 2 years. The way that works in practice.
He was given probation, right? He had a 364-day sentence, but he's given probation in lieu of it. If he violates probation, he goes to jail. If he doesn't, he's got 2 years probation.
Is he was sentenced to 10 days in jail and 2 years probation. And if after 2 years he continues to meet all these conditions of probation, there is a chance that 364-day jail sentence would go away. Could agree or disagree with that. Like I said, in most of these cases, I believe the criminal justice system is too lax on the people who commit these crimes. But as someone who has spent my entire career working in mental health, if you read through this case file, all of my little bat signal red flags were going up that there's a lot of mental health issues involved in this case. And so I am wondering if the judge also had those spidey senses and thought that this person would be better served to serve 2 years probation instead of going to jail. Either way, they were arrested for...
It makes me wonder, let's say ICE picks me up tomorrow. What the fuck are they going to claim I am?
Crime, and they were sentenced for that crime. While you may think probation is not a harsh enough sentence, it certainly does not mean that this person was free to prowl the streets and victimize Minneapolis.
I don't think he should have got probation. Fine, right? We need harsher sentencing guidelines. But to say that this dangerous criminal was free to prowl the streets and victimize Minneapolis residents for years is a lie. Thanks to Jacob Frey and Tim Walz or whatever. Right? He was sentenced under U.S. law for the crime he actually committed, not the one you lied about.
Minneapolis residents for years. And now their final statement that he was arrested for assault in the 1st degree in 2016. You can see on that same page in 2016, he was not arrested for 1st degree assault. He was arrested for terroristic threats. Doesn't have to.
So they just lied about this one. He got into a fight with his neighbor and was arrested, like a screaming fight. They didn't physically contact each other, and was arrested for terroristic threats, saying I'm going to kill you or I'll burn your house down or something like that. Okay? Why would they put that he was arrested for assault in the 1st degree? They just lie. It's not like it was actually 2nd degree and they accidentally wrote down 1st. Like, they go from 5th degree to 1st. They take the lowest possible situation and make it the worst. And then the other one says threats, and they say assault.
Doesn't have to do with terrorism. It means that you're committing a crime of violence with intent to terrorize someone else. And see, that's what he was convicted of and sentenced for. And again, you can read up on it. It's not good. He got into a bad fight with his neighbor, but it was not first-degree assault, and he was never charged with first-degree assault. So he is not an illegal alien. He was not charged with criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, and he was not arrested for assault in the first degree. If you're still here, you may be thinking, well,
why lie about every aspect of it? Because it makes a better headline. This guy was raping people and assaulting people, and the mayor let him go, and the governor let him go, and they just let him roam around and rape people whenever they wanted.
This person committed a violent crime, and now Trump is having him removed from the country. I don't really see what...
It's literally a propaganda machine. And they know they're lying.
The problem is, and that is completely fine, but I am here, as I always am on this account, to talk about the ways that they're trying to manipulate you with headlines like this one. Because not only is the Trump administration lying to the general public about the severity of the crimes this person committed, we shouldn't accept from our federal government, they're also trying to make you believe that undocumented immigrants are committing violent crimes and that Democrats don't care about it and aren't doing anything about it. This person was not an undocumented immigrant, and the state did do something about it. This headline should really read that the state of Minnesota found and arrested a green card holder, charged and sentenced them with a violent crime, and now the federal government wants to start the process of revoking that person's green card. But that's way less juicy than this, isn't it?
That's the truth. State of Minnesota found this person, convicted them. We found them, saw their history, and now we want to revoke their green card. It's almost like the system works without the Gestapo.
Juicy than this, isn't it? That would get way less clicks than this. So as always, do your own research and say no to clickbait like this. Over the last few days, I've seen lots of stories like this one coming out of Minnesota where ICE is claiming that all they want to do is arrest...
Fucking insane, bro. Insane. Oh, shit. It's almost 1 a.m. I got to go. We're supposed to be changing the schedule, chat. Why'd you let me go so long? What is wrong with you? Please consider supporting the show. That's how I pay the bills. I'm sure the electric bill is going to be fucking insane this month. You can do that at this link here. Just quick tools. My link's Colbert Confessional. Any of those links, you can use PayPal, buy me a coffee, or donut clip. You can leave a donation and leave a message with it. I like to read the message on the air and thank you personally while I'm live. So, like, even if you donate while I'm not live, on the next show, I'll shout you out and read whatever message you had and thank you for the donation. So, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Big winter storm coming. Make sure you're prepared. It'll be here in my area. It'll be here Friday nights, Saturday and into Sunday. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go sleep for a while. It's fucking too goddamn cold to be out doing anything else. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good night, guys.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag
stay warm.
See this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet.
It is 20 degrees here currently.
And tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have.
I think the low tonight's like 18 or some stupid shit.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the best.
Bert said he watches all my shows because people tell him all the time that I'm covering him, except I don't. So that's why he has to watch every show I have. Oh, and he likes to watch my chat, so he knows to ban you later in his chat.
Cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping Trump's cock and begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump and
what the fuck?
Climbing up the 5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too.
Yeah, they just ended the legal status of like 3,000, 4,000 Somalis under TPS. So they'll be trying to round them up and claim that fucking Tim Walz let them all just start raping people in the streets or whatever.
Trump in between, put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? It's it. Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is my mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3.
Good night, guys.
Goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on Cox that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, shit and runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my